So here's an example of what I was looking for in this particular program and how I want you to start thinking about coding from here on out. And then in your classes next semester, this will build on this exact concept. So the idea behind this particular program was I wanted you to start thinking about writing code in methods. And I asked you to write 4 different methods and the main method. So the first thing we'll do is we'll create this main method, and it's the controller, if you will. It's the code that's in control. It's the first method that's run. So I write the method def main and defining that main method, and I need to call it in order to run it. So in the future, in your future languages, like next semester if you take Java or you take C Sharp, you're going to see that both of those languages start with a main method. And so this is very common, and I would suggest you get into the habit of calling it main and getting used to the fact that this is going to be where all of our programs begin and then ultimately where they end. So then we'll look at our line, and the first line it says is it's going to run this greeting method, which is defined up here. Now I want you to start thinking about methods in terms of it does a single task. So this particular method is doing just one task. It is printing out a greeting to the user. That's it, no more, no less. So it is a single task method, which is good. The next statement then is twofold. It's saying go run this particular method, display menu, which I'm guessing based on that verb name is going to display the menu item to the user, and put that value in this variable. It's going to return a value, and we're going to put that in this variable called choice. So if we go look at display menu, I put a little comment in front of it. And what I, again, want you thinking about is that this is only doing one thing. It's displaying the menu choices to the user, and then it's returning whatever was chosen back to whoever called it. So it's really only doing one thing, and that is it's handling the menu selection. So it's a single task. I'm not also in this method displaying all the choices or displaying like if they chose 1, I'm going to do this. If they chose 2, I'm going to do that. All I'm doing is getting the menu selection. So it displays the menu and then it returns whatever was selected. So that too is a single task. And so whatever the user selected then, by means of this return selection, so if they type in a 1, 2, 3, or 4, then it's going to be put into this variable called selection, and selection is being returned and put into this variable choice. So then the next line item is, or the next statement is running this method called display selection. So it's going to display and do the logic that's handling the choice, and it's sending the choice that was received in this line above. So send the choice variable, whatever 1, 2, 3, or 4, to this method called display selection. And there is where display selection is expected to receive that value. And now the logic for printing out the appropriate step is in this particular method. So again, its job is just one thing. We don't see display menu and all of these items at the same time. We are seeing it separately. And the idea here is that we can then call, like if I just wanted to call, maybe I didn't want to display a menu. Maybe I just think, oh, I know that they want to see the next choice, for example, or something. The point is that I can call this method independently of having to give a menu, if for some reason that was important. So this then gives us the ability to display a menu distinctively and alone from actually displaying the output. So this is where we have to start thinking about why are methods created this way? Why do I have to think this way? Because I have to be able to run these methods independently of each other if I need to in my code. I don't want to put all of this logic in here because maybe I just want to display the message without actually displaying the choice for some reason. So it's important to just to separate our tasks into individual modules or individual methods so we can use them individually. And so then the last one then is the closing, and that's just bringing out a closing message. So arguably you could even break this particular menu up into another method, which one is just displaying the choices, and then another method, like for example, here's display. We could just do display menu, and then maybe another option would be get selection. And in get selection, maybe this would be a more appropriate place to uh, do selection. Let's see. I'm going to just comment this out. Comment out this, and maybe we'll put print, and then I will print step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Maybe something along those lines. And so maybe the job here is really just to display. Oops, I got too many. Here, there we go. And I'm not going to return anything. Excuse me. Maybe, I'll take this, copy it here. Let's see, do selection. Selection equals int input, input, input. What is your selection? So now I can, this would even be more self-contained, because now maybe this menu, this option, this method is only displaying our choices, and this method is only getting our selection. So then that would even be more self-contained tasks, where I would then have to say display menu and then choice equals get selection. So that's even more, what's the right word, extracted. In other words, this is even more of a single task if all of it's doing is displaying the message, the menu, and this method's only job is to get input from the user. So this is even more refined, which would even be better. So the more you can split up your methods into individual tasks, the more flexible you would be in the future. For example, maybe here instead of, maybe I could do a while loop and I could just display the menu the first time, and then the second time I'm in the while loop, I'll just get the selection over and over rather than printing the menu over and over. So in other words, maybe I could say while continue equals y, something along these lines. Just kind of ad-libbing here. There we go. Choice equals get selection and display the choice. And then continue equals input select again. So the point here is that I would have to put a continue equals y during the first time. So the idea here is that now I will print the menu just one time, and then as long as the user wants to choose other selections, I'm just going to display let's just run it. So now I have invalid syntax. I guess I need to fix that. Selection equals int input. What is your, oops, where's my invalid syntax coming from? Oh, I'm way down here. Oh, continue equals y. Oh, that's a good, continue. That is a keyword. So let's use keep going. That's not one we talked about. Continue is a keyword that you can use to break out of a loop. And so that is a word that's for a keyword that is not appropriate there. So we'll use keep going. There we go. Okay, so let's try that. So don't use continue as a variable. And while I was talking, I've made some syntax errors, so let's run through that. Okay, so what is your selection? So you can see that I've got the menu item because I've written this method independently of get the selection. The menu should have run. Which step would you like? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's this part right here. Display the menu. What is your selection? Maybe I shall choose 4. And then select again. So it displayed my selection. It did accordingly. Select again. I'm going to choose yes. And this time you see what is your selection because it's not in the while loop. So because I've separated these tasks into individual methods, I don't have to keep displaying the menu over and over again. I can simply just access the single task get selection. So I will choose 2. It does that. Select again. I'm going to say no, and then my program ends. So the more specific, the more single task oriented you can make your methods, the better off, the more flexible you're going to be in the long run when it comes to utilizing those methods, which is the whole concept of writing methods in the first place, being able to utilize self-contained code at various times so we're not, again, repeating code, we're not rewriting code or seeing repetitive code. We can just call the methods at the time in which we want to use them. So I hope this video helps get you in the mindset of breaking tasks up into individual little pieces and then utilizing a name method in order to start and kind of be in control, be the controller, if you will, of the order in which we display our methods.